Through intelligence, we've also learned that almost 25% of the 418 trucks encamped in our city have children living in them, children who could be at risk during a police operation. We're working with the Children's Aid Society to ensure their welfare and safety. Finally, our message to demonstrators remains the same. Don't come. And if you do, there'll be consequences, including financial consequences for your illegal and unlawful behavior. Thank you.
One of the most heinous things done to the truck convoy by the police in Ottawa was threatening to take their children from them. And today I can tell you that based on documents submitted to the Public Order Emergency Commission, the directive to do this came directly out of the Prime Minister's office. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know how you couldn't, the convoy to Ottawa took place during the end of January and all the way through to the middle of February this year. Thousands of truckers and their supporters converged on our nation's capital in Ottawa to protest for the end of remaining COVID restrictions, including what ignited it all, a cross-border vaccine mandate for long-haul truckers. The largely peaceful protest, and police data supports this, was extinguished by the invocation of the War Measures Act 2.0 at the hands of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Truckers and their supporters were treated like common terrorists when their own government invoked a counter-terrorism law called the Emergencies Act to seize their bank accounts, to take their trucks, to seize their assets, their businesses, their insurance policies, their gasoline, their diesel, their firewood, their food, and their liberties, because the Emergencies Act gave the police extraordinary powers of search, seizure, and arrest. And it was all for the crime of inconveniencing a few thousand people who live in downtown Ottawa, and of course, most importantly, embarrassing the Prime Minister. Right now in Ottawa, a failsafe built into the Emergencies Act is unfolding for the world to see. The government must hold an inquiry within 1 year of invoking the act to prove the necessity of it. And being loud, inconvenient, or overstaying your welcome in the nation's capital, well, those, they don't qualify. You can see all of our coverage and support our independent journalism at truckercommission.com. Now, let's get back to the kids. According to the Ottawa Police, being a blue-collar freedom lover who didn't want to be away from their kids for several weeks at a time, well, I guess that makes you a bad parent. Ottawa Interim Police Chief Steve Bell, as you saw off the top of this video, made that subtle threat to parents in a press conference, hinting that their children would be seized from them, from loving parents, good parents, for taking that journey to Ottawa to fight for their children's futures. Now, on Monday at the Public Order Emergency Inquiry, the aforementioned Trucker Commission, it came out that former Chief Bell made the announcement to seize kids after taking the advice of Crisis Communications Greaseballs Navigator. He didn't consult with the Children's Aid Society before planning to use them as enforcement tools of the state. Just take a listen.
Police service gave, where it was said to the media and in the public that OPS had concerns for the children of the protesters in Ottawa, and OPS wanted to discuss enforcement with the Child Aid Society of Ontario. You're aware that happened?
So you said the Ontario Police Service. I believe you mean the Ottawa Police Service. Yes. Do you have a document we can reference with that media release, or is that a clip?
It's a clip.
So I do recall. I don't specifically recall references to enforcement, but I do specifically recall the discussion around our concerns with children in the footprint, particularly as the situation there was becoming more volatile. So I was the one who was liaising with the Children's Aid Society, and they were. That was something in gaps we identified. That was a gap that we identified. I should have had conversations with them prior to that announcement being made. But as a result of the announcement, we were able to work together to identify the proper mechanisms that we would use in the event that we did identify children who needed support within the red zone.
But the idea to start seizing kids actually came from the Prime Minister's office. Navigator just bundled it up into a nice communication strategy. Let me show you these documents. It's on page 7 of a summary of a call made on February 6th between the City of Ottawa, the federal government, and the provincial government of Ontario. The call includes senior managers at the City of Ottawa, Chief of Police at the time, Peter Slowly, representatives from Public Safety Canada, Brenda Lucky, the RCMP Commissioner, and other public safety and emergency officials. And finally, Jody Thomas, Justin Trudeau's National Security Advisor. And I think it's important to note that she's a woman, despite her gender-neutral name, because as a woman, I find the suggestion she makes here absolutely despicable. Again, I say it's on page 7 of these notes. I'll publish them for you so you can read them for yourself. Don't take my word for it. She says, as a parent, how is enforcement officials addressing the children in the trucks? Looking at it from a child welfare perspective, exposure to nose, I think they mean noise here, and diesel fuel can be a major issue. Can action be taken from the initial perspective? This woman wanted the kids taken. You see, the government had taken the fuel. They were going to take bank accounts. They were towing trucks. And this is all after the government, over the last 2 years, had taken their jobs, their freedom of movement, their ability to go to school or go about with their faces unobscured, their ability to go to church in the numbers they wanted, their ability to visit their elderly and have whomever they wanted over into their homes during the holidays. And then the government was going to take their kids when they finally stood up. This Trucker Commission is exposing just how evil our government has been to its own citizens. What did the convoy really do? Except want to be free from a tyrant. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. To follow all of our ongoing coverage from the Public Order Emergency Inquiry and to support our independent journalism, please visit truckercommission.com.